forget the day my husband came home and said, I think we're going to have to file for bankruptcy. And he'd been carrying the shame of that and the weight of that. And I had no idea. I had no idea how bad it was. I had no idea that we were completely out of money. And everything came to a stop. And so I woke up one day and I could hear my voice on the radio. I could turn on any Christian radio station anywhere in the country and hear my voice in the top 10, top 5. And secretly what I knew was that my husband and my bandmates had taken on jobs, and I was at home. I had no friends. I'd been on the road for years in ministry. Nobody knew. Nobody knew that we were even home. I didn't know how to cook. I would have breakdowns. My most insane breakdown was the spaghetti aisle at the grocery store. And I just got there, and it had not occurred to me that I hadn't cooked in years, because I'd lived off of green rooms and tour buses and churches. And I get to the spaghetti aisle, and I don't know what noodle to pick out. And there's a lot of noodles, James, Betty. There's a lot of them. I mean, there were like, I don't know where they all came from, but there were like options everywhere. And so I'm staring, and all of a sudden I'm like, how am I gonna be, how do I start my life over if I can't even pick a noodle? And I start weeping like a crazy woman. And an older lady comes up, and she's, I'm from Texas, so she said, honey, I do not know what it is, only the good Lord does. But she said, what I do know is this, some nights we just do takeout. And so honestly, that's where the road to becoming starts, is actually that night in the spaghetti aisle, because I got in the car and I called my mom sobbing, and she said, Jenny, she said, this is your moment. She said, you can either stuff all this down, or she said, this is your invitation to grieve. And so for me, the next 2 or 3 years in my journey has been, what does it look like to start all over again?
And you put the story here.
Yeah.
What do you think it'll do for people? Because I think most of them it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I had a lot of well-meaning people in my life who loved the Lord, who had absolutely terrible theology to offer me. And we're not good with people who are walking through grief. And so I think if you read this book, you're gonna realize real quickly, you're gonna be reminded of all the times that Jesus grieved. And he grieved fiercely and intensely for John the Baptist, for Lazarus, for himself. He grieved for his own death, his own passing. Lord, not my will.
Over Jerusalem, the whole city.
Absolutely. And so I want people to leave this book and know it is okay to grieve in the midst of it. And that can go on as long as you need it to. It is okay to be lost. I woke up and I felt like everybody wanted me to be fixed really fast. Like, okay, well, now that that's behind you, you can move on. And, as if this magical yellow brick road just presented itself, and it didn't. And actually, what really got me is that I told the Lord, I'll do anything. I will go to Africa. I'll be a teacher. Whatever you ask me to do, God, next, tell me and I'll do it. And you know what he said? He said, Jenny, I just need you to be lost for a little bit, because that's where you learn how to have faith.
Wow.
And he said, I just need you to be lost. I'm not here to give you answers. And I realized I'd kind of hijacked that Bible verse, come to me, all you who are weary, and I'll give you rest. And I had changed it to come to me, all you who are weary, and I'll give you answers. Mm-hmm. And he said, I'm the answer. Can you trust me? Yeah. Can you trust me today, whether you get the blueprint for what comes next? So I hope people will read that and be okay with grieving, be okay with being lost for a little bit, and then be reminded of Isaiah 43. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. Do you not perceive it? I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up among you. I'm making a way in the wasteland. I'm bringing springs into the wilderness. And I pray that you would finish that and you would think, my God's good at deserts.